Welcome to Ukraine, with your host, Pastor Bert.
Все удобно. Спасибо. Вот сейчас много шума по поводу наших ударов по энергетической инфраструктуре соседней страны. Да, отдельно. Ну что значит? Кто ударил по мосту Покровскому? Кто подорвал линии электропередач с атомной электростанции Курска? Кто не подает воду в Донецк? Неподача воды в миллионный город – это акт геноцида. Никто, нигде, словом об этом не обманывает. Вообще. Молчок полный. Стоит нам только пошевелиться, что-то сделать в ответ. Шум, гам, треск на всю вселенную. Это не будет нам мешать выполнять боевые задачи. И я хочу вас поблагодарить, что вы и ваши товарищи делали это самым достойным образом. Спасибо. Еще раз поздравляю вас с высокой наградой. И с наступающим вас Новым годом. Вряд ли давно мы увидимся. Всем вашим коллегам, товарищам боевым самое лучшее. Всего доброго. Спасибо.
Beloved, cheers! The opening clip, dated December 9, 2022, was a drunken Putin addressing off at a Kremlin affair on December 2022. This is a 71-year-old man who has no wife, no children looking after him, with as a health problem alone. Binging drunk reveals a man in great difficulty. This is clear evidence of alcoholism. In our last episode, we revealed that Vladimir Putin himself negotiated a $181 million purchase of 1 million bottles of Spanish champagne in August 2014. With the greater problems of running the first invasion of Ukraine by Russia in February to March 2014, one would think that Putin would be instead concerned with issues of occupied Crimea, not going on a shopping spree for cheap champagne. Thus, between this video clip of Putin drunk and shopping for his drug of choice, champagne, this matches the four of lifestyle characteristics of the addicted alcohol personality. These actions, one would think, would be foreign to a nation's president, the president of Russia, but are totally consistent with an alcoholic. In the last two episodes, we maintained that Putin has been a heavy drinker of champagne for at least 26 years. Is there proof to justify this claim? Yeah, there is. First, here is a picture from the time of President Yeltsin in 1997, when Putin was then chief of staff. Here in these pictures, we see evidence of champagne being served during Yeltsin's term, which means that Putin was the one who personally managed these servers at each Kremlin meeting or event. Putin's standing order was that anyone coming into one of these halls who had empty hands was to be handed a champagne glass. When a person at a meeting finished the one, here we see in this first picture, we see an identified teacher who is with President Boris Yeltsin during an award ceremony in the Kremlin, January 26, 1998. And I supplied a few more pictures where alcoholic drinks are being pushed upon President Yeltsin, because understand, every time Putin gave alcohol to Yeltsin, a man with a heart disease and multiple hearts, Putin would deliberately poison Yeltsin because Putin coveted to acquire from Yeltsin his job. The number of servers for each meeting room at the Kremlin were defined by Putin. The exact station where each server was regulated was all set by Putin. We have evidence that although Putin has been president for many years now, Putin still continues to personally direct the champagne server. The following is a Photoshop for a TV commercial promoting the war. We're not going to show you the finished TV ad, video, essential parts of the making of that. Only the purpose video of showing you the video is threefold. One, you will see Putin and his supporters drinking champagne. Two, you will see the two or other principal individuals that make up Putin's Russian dictatorship. And three, you will see that Putin's clear dependency on champagne for managing groups of people. I will stop the video. In this scene, President Putin is at the front of the group, holding his champagne glass as an example for the group to follow. Next to President Putin is another man, and a third will follow, all of which we can't see, but will see, however, briefly as the scene unfolds. Now, the four numbered servants are ladies whose hiring President Putin approved after he interviewed each one of them. Many other servants are on the Kremlin's payroll to cover much larger meeting rooms, and also when multiple rooms are being used and servers are required in each one. The uniform for all servers was approved by Putin more than 2 decades ago. Ladies are to wear a high-buttoned white blouse, black tight pencil mini dress to knee length, black high heels with a 3-inch stiletto heel, while the hair is to be worn down straight and neatly. The ladies as servers are there to serve and please, smile continually and courteously, and to encourage all attending meetings and members to drink at least 1 or possibly 2 champagne drinks at every meeting. They were this public consumption of champagne and alcohol has been these servers' function in the employment of Vladimir Putin for at least a quarter century at all group meetings at the Kremlin as a matter of note that you can clearly see the servers presenting champagne on the black tray, and that the man from the number 1 server the glass of champagne without cup. Who then is this man taking the champagne glass from the number 1 server? It is actually General Valery Gerasimov, chief of the General Staff and first Deputy Minister of Russian Defense. After dutifully accepting the champagne from server number 1, General Gerasimov moves to stand 1 person away from President Putin as a show of solidarity. You will also see, looking at the TV video, Putin created that he only had 22 actors backing him up in military uniforms. Yet, because this act would be likely seen by all of Russia a number of times, Putin brought in 4 servers just to make sure all of the actors received their champagne and were in mellow, happy mood. Make the video. For larger Kremlin gap, Putin's lieutenants bring in many more servers to keep everyone at the gathering drinking. Who then is the second person in line standing between Putin and General Gerasimov? From here, we are able to identify the second man to President Putin as well. Now that Putin has stepped forward to clink glass with one of the actors, this reveals the identity of the person standing right next to Putin, which is General Sergei Shoigu, Minister of Defense. Putin is very different in his managerial style than Yeltsin. Yeltsin didn't care about public relations and left that to his chief deputy Vladimir Putin, who, given the opportunity, did him in by enabling bad press. Vladimir Putin cares very much about trying to preserve a good public image with the Russian electorate by seeing that he is not compromised in front of the media camera. So to drive the importance of the video being produced, Putin called in his 2 right-hand men, General Shoigu and General Gerasimov. The 22 acts of the act were pitched by not merely the president and dictator of Russia, but the entire military leadership embodied by these 3 Russian leaders to do their sober best to deliver a convincing acting job that would make Russia proud. This was not a casual request by Putin, Shoigu, and Gerasimov, but a calculated demand of the leadership by the entire dictatorship for obedient performance by these. President Boris Yeltsin appointed deputy chief of his presidential staff on March 25, 1997. Mr. Putin scheduled the serving of champagne into every group meeting continued once he became president of Russia himself. Why alcohol? Why champagne? As an advantage, alcoholics build up a tolerance to alcohol. That is, the addict has to drink much more alcohol for the alcohol to have an effect on them, while inhibiting non-drinkers quicker and harder. bill of tolerance to alcohol is a common characteristic and is listed as one of the characteristics in the lifestyle criteria common to alcohol personality table. Putin believes that champagne gives him the ability to control the audience, slow them down, and tailor the result of all meetings his advantage to the detriment of anyone but Putin in the meeting. Putin does this purely to try and gain an undeserved advantage instead of good faith and equity in treating the entire government agent and, of course, in dealing with foreign government representatives. Indeed, alcohol does control the audience, but eventually alcohol then controls and enslaves the alcoholic, which is where Putin is today. How hard does Putin work to maintain this alcoholic advantage? He purchased 1 million bottles of champagne, 166,666 cases on April 15, 2015. If you line these cases up end to end, the line of champagne case would extend 47 miles long, fill multiple warehouses, and would provide enough champagne to serve 5,000 people 2 6-ounce drinks for every day of the year. I repeat, this would create a line of champagne boxes 47 miles long. Each of those 6-ounce drinks would have the alcoholic club on guest of 3.2 cans of beer, or with one refill, 6 cans of 3.2 beer, enough to knock any social drinker out cold. Feeding champagne to everyone who comes to the Kremlin is just a cover to hide Putin's own alcoholic use. Obvious, given that Putin offers a toast at every Kremlin meeting he attends, this means he's likely gets 2 champagne drinks for every meeting serving the public by showing hospitality. But being president, Putin is likely to have many meetings a day. So many meetings hosting at each meeting meet more drinks for Putin, to which he claims he is just serving the public. No, 2, 3, 4, etc. That means for Putin 4, 6, or 8 champagne drinks a day. This continual intoxicated state of Putin's mind means that the new brain cells needed by Putin's brain are simply not created. This causes Putin to lose brain capacity. Further, staying under the influence means memories cannot be stored. Putin and alcoholics in general forget everything, including matters of state. All of this creates a non-reversible security risk to Russia, which is why Putin has to be retired now, because his mental deterioration, alcohol dementia, is only going to get worse. Needless to say, a couple truckloads of Kikaju joy juice magically found their way to Putin's estate for off-hours personal consumption and entertainment. There is much more evidence to show, but we are again out of time. The next report will even more present more damaging evidence. So we will pick up this subject of evidence in the next few episodes as well.
В этом году нам была объявлена настоящая санкционная война, а Украину и ее народ они цинично используют для ослабления и раскола России.
Friends, thank you for visiting Welcome to Ukraine, this series, How to Stop Putin and His Nuclear War. Putin's like a puzzle. You can't begin to understand what Putin is doing unless you lay down and examine every piece of the puzzle, one piece at a time. Do this enough, and you will not only empower yourself, but all of humanity by learning of the threat and the risk to all human life. How to defeat Putin and to stop its nuclear war to save all our lives. Be sure and come back tomorrow for the next installment, for the next step also in solving this hidden puzzle. Because this issue is literally life and death for our species. Lives are at stake. Whose? Well, all of ours as well as yours. We must stand against this extinction of all mankind. We must not go quietly into the night. We must bring awareness to as many of our kind to encourage more opposition to Putin's nuclear war. Please help us to help you. Please visit us also on our parent site, Free Ukraine Gives. Remember, beloved, God loves you, so do I. Until the next time, this is your host, Pastor Bert, saying goodbye, friends.